Welcome to Brighton, a seaside gem on the south coast of England, where the waves crash against the iconic Pebble Beach, the air is fresh, and the architecture takes you back to one of the finest eras of British history. Here, the hotels and houses lining the Kingsway are a stunning reminder of the Regency era. This was the time when Prince George, later Prince Regent, and his love for Brighton turned it into one of the most fashionable seaside places in the country. Because of his frequent stays in Brighton, Brighton became known as the place for a holiday by the sea, where people could take to the waters, bathing in the sea as a remedy for illness. And in fact, sea bathing, which is dunking people in the sea, began right here at this very beach. I didn't go into the icy waters myself because it is freezing cold, but in the summer months, going into this sea is absolutely refreshing. On the first day, I walked all the way from Hove to Brighton, and I was very, very tired. The next day, I didn't stay in Hove, I stayed in a hotel right on the seafront in Brighton, the King's Hotel. I booked a very small room with side sea view, which, as you can see, is basically not a view, but there was the seafront and a little building site and the I-360. As I dropped my bags, I realised the sun was going down, so I dashed outside with my camera and I got one of the most amazing photos I have ever taken in my entire life. This really is the money shot. And if you would like this as a print, please let me know. The bandstand is one of my favourite places in Brighton, just the grandeur and the beauty of the view. I can just imagine bands playing there back in the 1800s. As I walked along the beach, I was getting so cold, but I just couldn't stop staring at the waves. They were just absolutely beautiful. And just breathing in the sea air was an absolute necessity because I have been living in very polluted areas. As I watched the sunset, I went to find somewhere for a cup of tea and walked along looking at all the gorgeous architecture, including this ticket hut, which is actually a replica of what would have been there in the 1800s for the tickets for the West Pier. Unfortunately now, there is the big, ugly I-360, which apparently is not worth the money, right next to it. But as a photographer, I don't see that. I just see the shot. I just see the history. I just see the potential photograph. I then had dinner, fish and chips of course, at the Regency restaurant, which was right next to my hotel, and it was absolutely delicious. The next day I woke up quite early and I went and enjoyed the seafront. It was very, very cold and really gloomy, so I was even more thankful that I'd gotten that sunset on my photos last night. This was the day before Storm Bert hit the country, so those rain clouds are intense. I've never seen rain clouds over the coast like this before, but it looked so awesome. I basically spent the rest of the morning walking through Brighton, trying not to get too cold, just enjoying the same view over and over again. What I've noticed being in Brighton, especially in the winter, is that the upkeep of a holiday place like this is obviously insanely expensive. Like, I'm at the pier right now and it's closed. And like, it's really pretty from far away, but as soon as you look closer, it is completely in need of a lot of reconstruction. I've always been a bit scared of piers. This one's celebrating 125 years. The old one obviously derelict since the 70s, collapsed, arson, burnt down, and now a statement of the sea view in Brighton. It's really interesting to me how like seaside holidays were so different. Now everybody goes to, most people go to cheap package holidays. Back in the day, in the Regency era, this was the place to be. I mean, 125 years ago is not the Regency era. The Regency era was the old pier and a lot of the hotels here. But it's just really interesting like how holidaying has changed. I'm seeing a lot of like construction everywhere. I mean, especially because it's winter, but things are falling apart, things need redoing, and it's all a bit like under the weather here. Before I had to leave for my train, I went into the Brighton Museum, which is in the pavilion, and the ticket was only £9, and I get to come back within the year with the same ticket. It's still valid for a whole year, which is really awesome. The art was absolutely gorgeous, and it was a lovely final touch to my 3 days in Brighton.